a sudden, I found myself in love with the world. So there was only one thing that I could do, was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
Strzok?
Peter.
Peter.
FBI fires Peter Strzok.
Is it Strzok or Stroke?
Stroke. You know more about this than I do. What's the background? So I saw the testimony about 3 weeks ago, and today he's now been fired.
He has. And that was a very interesting testimony he put out there, nonetheless. But, for those that don't know, and, I'll stand to be corrected if I get anything incorrect, but it's one of those deals where him and his gal Paige were sending texts back and forth. They showed an extreme amount of bias towards the president.
This was prior to the election.
Prior to the election, yes. And what him, Comey, Page, all of them, they were the ones that actually pulled out the FISA warrants that allowed them to wiretap the Trump campaign. So there is a bunch of redacted information that's sitting out there right now that they've released. And it's been released a couple of times to government officials. This would be like, I believe, the House and possibly the Senate.
Yeah.
And all of it is redacted in the name of national security. So they are sitting on it right now. Some of it's been redacted, or unredacted, I should say. Mm-hmm. And there is some, I guess we would say, evidence of wrongdoing.
On his part.
On his part, yeah, along with the bias. Because basically what they did was they used the P dossier, as it's referenced in a lot of circles, about, what was Trump doing in Russia and all that stuff. Well, basically they found, it's a giant fabrication. And they're following the money of where that dossier came from, which was actually from a Russian agent and some other people. And it also links it back to our own government people who actually paid to have the dossier made. So it's kind of an awful situation. I think it kind of pales, if you compare it to Watergate, when we were growing up and Nixon got kicked out for actually recording some people at the Watergate hotel there.
Right.
So very similar.
What do you think it does for the reputation of the FBI? If you watch the testimony, which is all over YouTube, you could just look up his name. It was very fiery back and forth between the chair and him.
Was the chair Trey Gowdy? I think it was.
I think it was Trey Gowdy, who's a Republican.
Yeah, he's vicious. He can come at people. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it did remind me, as I've noted here, that it reminded me of the movie A Few Good Men, when Jack Nicholson was up on the stand saying, what was it?
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Well,
he was very, what do you want to call it?
Defiant
about his position, saying that in no way did his personal opinions impede on his ability to do his job.
Well, I don't know. If you look at, I think if we look at it from the context of you can't handle the truth, I think the corruption and the, I'll use the word nefarious. I use that too much. The nefarious escapades that are going on in the background are absolutely unreal. I think we've never seen anything like this in our generation or in our time.
Oh, the amount of negative news about Trump, whether you like him or not, is unprecedented. For the media going after a president.
Well, he's picking a fight with, the fake news moniker, which is real interesting because today there was actually a follow-up. There's a lot of editorial comments going out right now where they're saying they want to get, 128 newspapers all on the same page as far as trying to discredit Trump's concept of the fake news and how the media is negative. Yeah. And it's kind of weird. it kind of goes to that whole, Shakespearean thing. Methinks you doth protest too much.
Yeah.
The reaction almost kind of solidifies. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why are you guys getting all bummed out about this?
Yeah. No, I agree. It's good. It's worth watch. It's worth a watch for entertainment purposes.
Oh, absolutely. Grab the popcorn.
Grab the popcorn if you want to watch. If you watch the whole thing is very interesting, actually. If you want to get into the politics of it, let's go over Omarosa. Omarosa was originally a contestant on The Apprentice, way back in the day.
Oh yeah, she was working in the White House there, and then they canned her. And
So she was part of The Apprentice. I don't know if she won or not, but anyway, he liked her. He seemed to have liked her. Brought her into the White House. And I think what's peculiar about her is she basically tapes with seemingly every conversation that ever happened within the White House, including her own firing. And is now on the media circuit and writing a book and the whole thing. Right?
well, she might be just profiting. Who knows?
No, certainly she's profiting from it, but at the end of the day, do you want that to be your legacy? To be the person
Who was recording everything?
recording everything.
I knew somebody.
But nobody's
that-
ever going to talk to her again, right? I certainly wouldn't.
No, it makes it hard to get hired again, doesn't it?
I just don't know if you want to be that kind of person, do you? You get hired into the White House. You walk around taping everything. I don't know.
And I think there's probably, I'm guessing,
I don't think it
that's
look-
kind of illegal. Taping
it's-
stuff within the White House, within meetings and different things like that.
Well, it's probably illegal, and it's just, I don't want to say it's unethical. It's just not something that you should be doing. Obviously, if that's what you're doing from the get-go, you're it's either CYA or I'm going to profit off this later. And that's not what you're hired to do, right? You're hired to do a specific job. Do your job.
Or did somebody
Stop recording everything.
give her directions to do so? What kind of mud can you dig up?
It's probably a dead giveaway when she keeps saying, "Speak louder, please." Or holding her lapel out. I didn't quite hear that. All right, Harley Davidson boycott today. Trump said that would be a great thing for people to boycott Harley Davidson. Obviously, this has to do with the
Steel tariffs.
all the terror, the steel tariffs in particular, but all of the indifferences in the trade agreements that he's trying to fix.
Right. Well, you look at Harley, and Harley is losing market share. The old biker types, they're starting to die off, and they don't have the market that they used to. And they haven't innovated in a while. They've built some interesting motors over the last couple of years, but they haven't innovated. And I don't know. I think maybe they're forcing them into a position of competitiveness. Let capitalism roll, right?
Well, it's, two different topics, right? One is capitalism. Let capitalism roll, in that Harley Davidson has not come out with great product over the last whatever number of years. Obviously, they have an extremely loyal following.
They do. I'm not knocking a Harley by any means, but
then you've got the part that essentially the Harley riders are saying if Harley is to move out of the U.S. based on the 20%, I believe it's 20% tariffs, and move their operations wherever, right, where they don't have that tariff, that Harley riders, and this is a generalization, will abandon Harley for having done that because it's got this whole made in the USA thought and feel, right, that people are really proud of.
it's been the one holdout for many years, is made in USA. American apple pie, bikers, and Harley, right?
Yeah, well, he's challenging it. In part, I don't know if he's got anything against Harley Davidson other than to say, look, you're just one of many companies that's being impacted by the potential tariffs, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing solely on the basis of motorcycle sales. I said in podcasts ago I'm not sure that Trump is fully aware of what he's doing.
Right, yeah.
In this particular case, I'm not sure he's either fully aware of what he's doing either, other than the C2 numbers, that the imports and exports don't equal, right? And therefore, one way to handle that is to put tariffs on imported goods from China, and then you get into trade wars, right?
Right.
And Harley Davidson's kind of stuck in the middle because of metal, and the price increase of 20%, which would be passed on to the consumer, is too high. So they're going to move their operation, and then it flows down to the consumer. This is, well, if you move your operation, we're not going to buy your bikes anymore. And then you got the other side that you talked about,
Right.
which is capitalism. Are they really putting out superior products anymore compared to, I don't know, let's say Indian or any of the other those that make those types of bikes?
Well, and it's all about their margin too, right? That's where it comes down, and they're going right out of the bat, going, okay, we're going to ship out our work overseas. You know, it's like they're kind of half thinking it through.
Yeah, I mean, but do you associate Harley with, like, say, South Korea, right? I mean, I think that would kill Harley, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think they're thinking it through.
It's an American icon, if you will.
It is. You know, Indian used to be, but I think Indian's made by Polaris now or something like that. So
Yeah, the old Indians or whatever.
but they're classic looking bikes. They look great, and people are still buying them.
Still buy them. There's not too much competition on the market, though. I mean, Honda and everybody else will say that they have a great bike, too, right? But unless you, which I think is a patented exhaust, if I'm not mistaken, unless you get that Harley exhaust going, then, Honda's, I think, Japanese company.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Honda.
look, they all have good bikes, actually. Honda's really good, Kawasaki's really good, but Harley's just known as the American icon, and we'll see what happens with them. Capitalism and tariffs included. Nancy Pelosi, oh my God. We talked about her a few weeks ago.
She's so awesome.
So she's so awesomely old. She'll be on tour the next 3 months promoting Democratic candidates across the country. And I read an article that said the overall ratings of the Democrats over the past hasn't been worse since the Herbert Hoover administration, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
In the single digits, right? Under the guidance of her being the lead of the Democratic Party, right? So I think it was an op-ed piece essentially saying it's time for you to go. She's 78, 79 years old. I mean, the truth is, you don't want 80-year-olds running this place anyway. I don't think they have a pulse on America anymore.
No, they've been so removed from the America, the people, that they just. I mean, she flies around on a jet with a, I'll infer like $120,000 bar bill, I guess.
I don't know why they called it that. Just do what CNN does and say we're Democrats. I mean, why does Fox News? It's not on the agenda today, but why not just say it? Why not just say, look, we're not fair and balanced. This is a fact.
We're this side. We're this side.
I mean, they've got Sean Hannity and everybody. I don't know. Brett Baer's kind of a cool cat.
Yeah, Brett's all right. Lou Dobbs is interesting too. I mean, for an old dude, Lou Dobbs can.
He can still roll, but he used to be on CNN and then moved to, I think it was MSNBC. He's still somewhere though.
Oh, he's over at Fox.
Is it Fox?
Yeah, he's been on Fox Business for a while.
On Fox Business or Fox?
Fox Business.
Okay, yeah. So he got pushed to the back a little bit. Something happened to him probably about 8 years ago, where he stopped being a regular. I think he was on CNN and he had more of a right leaning. It was kind of like a Glenn Beck type scenario, a little bit more right leaning. But then when Glenn Beck got soft and started crying every day on his show, so I don't know what happened. I think he went through some problems.
I think yeah. Glenn, he's had an interesting ride.
You know, one of my favorites that actually passed away was oh God, what was his name? This is just before the Obama administration took over the prior election, the Bush election. where he'd still hold up like a chalkboard and like erase it on
Oh,
television.
he was crazy with the chalkboards. I remember watching one show. He had like
What was
4
his name?
chalkboards.
What was his name? Oh, he was classic though.
Well, that was Beck.
No, it wasn't Glenn Beck. No, you're talking about Glenn Beck's show. Before that, a guy, I really wish I remember his name. I feel disrespectful right now. Tim Russert.
Oh, yeah.
So he'd be up there with his chalkboard during the elections and like literally just like with an eraser. And now everything's so sophisticated and they got the moving boards and all that kind of stuff. All right, Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys owner, keeping his hat on during the national anthem. He didn't want to respond to it. He's the most powerful of the owners in the NFL. Sits on the boards and all this kind of stuff, and he's been very outspoken about Colin Kaepernick kneeling for during the national anthem.
He has, yeah.
So I guess he got caught, if you will, if you want to call it that, wearing his hat during the national anthem, which is a faux pas, if you will, not necessarily.
Probably forgot he had his hat on or didn't realize they were doing it. You know, he had something else on his mind.
How old
Who
is?
knows?
Can you look this up? How old is this guy? He's ancient, though.
He's 75.
Oh, okay. Sorry, he's not ancient.
He's not ancient.
I'm lucky I could remember my hat, you know, at that age.
So he kept it on during the national anthem, and people were like, trying to call him out on it. Say, well, listen, if you're not going to let them kneel, why are you keeping your hat on?
You hypocrite.
Right, and he's just, he's like, don't even bother me.
You know what he's worth? $2.5 billion, according to Wikipedia.
Really?
$2.5 billion the guy's worth.
I don't know if I like his style. So he owns the company, right?
He apparently owns a bunch of stuff.
He owns the team.
I'm seeing $5 billion.
$5 billion.
Was it?
$5 billion.
Oh, he had 2.5 somewhere in probably an offshore account.
Yeah.
Well, I need to get on his list so I can be in his will.
Uncle Jerry.
Uncle Jerry. They're not going to be around much longer. You forgot you had your hat on. Yeah. He's been very, not only vocal about that particular topic, but he's one of the only owners I've actually seen on the sidelines, like a coach. I don't know if I'd like that or not. If I were a coach, I'd be like, can you not bother me right now? But he comes down onto the field and actually starts being like,
He loves football, apparently.
call this play. No, call this. No, he does. He does love football. Give him that. So it's National Left-Handers Day today.
Is that today?
I forgot to buy cards at Hallmark. Sorry.
Left-Handers Day. Another way to be divisive in our country is now create a day just for left-handed people who are hypothetically smarter than the rest of us.
Well, old Ned Flanders is going to do well today at the Leftorium.
I don't.
Oakley dokley.
What the hell is Left-Handers Day? Really? What do they do? Just use their left hand all day? I don't know.
Come on down to the Leftorium.
Isn't it kind of oblivious, though? I mean, sort of hypocritical. The more that we try to come together, the more days that get created for people who have very specific things. Like it's National Blue Eyes Day. Anybody who's got blue eyes. It's not for brown-eyed people. It's for blue-eyed people. We're going to continue dividing and self-destruct, I'm telling you. As much as we're trying to, quote-unquote, come together, we just keep getting farther and farther and farther apart.
It seems like it, doesn't it? Well, there was all that unrest in D.C. over the weekend, too, which kind of amplified that quite a bit.
Yeah. And Chicago.
Oh, was it Chicago also?
I mean, I'm just telling you, 154 people got murdered or something like that.
Oh,
like a 3-day.
I thought there was another protest in Chicago. Yeah, somebody should be protesting all that, but, you know, it's just Chicago. Place of pizza parlors and
Murders.
bought-off politicians.
Rahm Emanuel is the mayor. He used to be Obama's...
Left-hand guy?
yeah, so it's a good day for him. Left-handed day.
Left-handed. Wasn't his right hand.
Yeah, he was his left hand. Just as a side note, most politicians are little. Anyway, let's move on.
All right.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger.
So he was making a run at the PGA Tour this weekend. I'm not a big. I mean, I like golf, but like I hate it, just like everybody else. It's like a media fascination to see if he'll succeed again or not. Because I think the last time he won was like for a major. It was like 14 years ago.
I think it was just before his wife bulldozed the $6 million house they had or something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what you get. There's always a consequence for what you're doing. She decided to bulldoze the house, and yeah,
She was mad.
Yeah, that was like what was that movie? You know what movie I'm talking about? You know, where they get divorced and split up the house into two parts, and
The Breakup? No?
no. Michael Douglas.
We're going way back in the time machine there.
Yeah, it was a Michael Douglas movie, where they
War of the Roses.
War of
Oh,
the-
yeah.
War of the Roses.
That's
That
a great
was
movie.
intense.
That's what was happening in Tiger Woods' front yard, I think, for a little while there.
With a bulldozer.
Yeah. Dummy. Anyway, will he come back? I don't think so.
I kind of hope he does, in a way, just to kind of get some kind of redeeming episode. I mean, he actually shot pretty good on the last tournament. He got the crowd kind of going. He actually kind of came from behind. He didn't win, obviously, but he had some good shots, and they got the crowd kind of worked up. I think it was on the 15th hole or something on the one over the weekend.
No, he could hit some spectacular shots. Don't misunderstand.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he's a great golfer. Here, I think what happened to him is that he golfed way too early, and he was golfing as a kid. I mean, think about it. When you're, and I'm not a physician, but it's just probably logical here. If you swing a club thousands and thousands and thousands of times while you're growing, you're going to mess up your body, right?
Sure.
I think he's paying for it now. Not now. He's been paying for it the last 9 years.
Might have been the hookers and blow, but
Could have been that too. Exactly. He's got to stay out of. I don't think he's going to make. I think he might win another big one, but I don't think he's coming back.
No,
Gonna
I
win
don't.
over and over and beat all Palmer and Nicholson and all these legends. And
he'd really have to turn some stuff around to make that happen.
I read something at the PGA Tour about the PGA Tour this weekend that he didn't hit any fairways on his fourth round.
Yeah, that was one of the things. He was missing the fairways, but then he was picking them up with
He was picking them up out of the weeds, though,
Yeah.
which is really good at.
That's
but,
amazing in and of itself, right?
But I mean, I even hit one fairway out of 18. Come on now, and I don't even golf all day. Most expensive average meal in the United States is actually at the Venetian Hotel, which is in Vegas, averaging a check of $90. That doesn't surprise me at all. Everything in Vegas is expensive. Maybe they didn't court Disney to see how much they charge for a Coca-Cola. I think it's also $90.
That's right around the same amount. Yeah, they just charge your card. You don't really see the itemized deduction there. So it was $37 for a small Coke,
Yeah, it's not even one of those like little tiny ones.
a little shot, of Coke.
A little shot of Coke. You want to? Okay, no problem. Put it on your bill. Like everybody at Disney's British.
Put it on the card.
Put on the bill.
I don't think they are, but okay.
Well, they should be. I mean, for the price they pay, I want to hear an accent. I don't want Mark walking up to me and be like, "Can I carry your luggage for you?" Okay. No, you can't. How much is that? Just 2 tokens.
When they have like all the different countries and you can go to, I think it was like Epcot. And like you could go
Did
to
you call it
Sweden.
Epcot?
Epcot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Epcot. It's like a dermal abrasion procedure or something. No. Epcot, yeah.
Yeah, Epcot. Place is a dump. Todd Bridges. You remember that guy from Different Strokes?
I'm surprised he's still alive, to be
So
honest.
what's surprising is he's the last of the major 5. Rachel Ray, who was that old lady who played.
Did she just kick the bucket?
Yeah, I think last weekend. So he's the only remaining living, regular to that show, which is surprising because I think didn't he shoot somebody like a
He
whole bunch
shot
of times?
somebody who was dealing drugs.
Dealing
I mean,
drugs, and I read that he actually thought about doing a murder. A suicide by cop was what they call it, meaning like come at him and try to get shot.
That's one way to do it.
That guy was in all kinds of trouble for all kind, And now he's just like on these shows where they have, these trashy TV shows where they have like input from like C-list actors of what they think of a particular video clip or something.
Oh, nice. What is that, like on MTV or something?
I don't know. I don't see. I just seen him like making stupid comments. But I'm surprised he's the last one. Gary Coleman ran for governor. Did you know that? Of California.
Yeah.
I think his tax policy was something to the effect of everybody pays like $1 or something like that. And they died.
Oh, tough looking up at the world.
And then Schwarzenegger took over. Too bad for the girl. The girl that was in there actually I think she committed suicide.
Schwarzenegger?
No. The girl that was in Different Strokes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I think she committed
the
suicide.
The daughter, right?
Mr. Drummond.
Mr. Drummond's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He became my butler for like 2 weeks, and then he passed away.
Yeah, she had some drug issues too. I wonder if they had the same dealer when they were on the set there in Hollywood.
Do you remember that show? What was it? The Jeffersons.
Moving on up.
I love that show. That show's hilarious.
It is a good show.
You gotta go back to that and watch that show. I wonder what happened to that guy. Can you look that up? He must have passed away. 'Cause I haven't seen him
Helmsley.
I haven't seen him for years. I know that the wife passed away.
Right.
But the Jeffersons was hilarious. I don't know. They don't replay that on like TV Land or anything like that. They should.
I think they're actually running on like MeTV.
Oh, do they? Well, that guy's name.
Yeah. A little known fact. The mom, Mrs. Willis.
Yeah.
Her son, Lenny Kravitz.
Wait. Let's back up a second. Yeah. No, I know. So, the Mrs. Jefferson.
No. Actually, Roxy Roker was her name. And
was it Mrs. Jefferson?
No,
or
it
was the neighbor lady?
It was the neighbor lady who was married to the
white guy.
To the white guy. Yeah.
You're saying her real son is Lenny Kravitz.
Correct. Yeah.
That's cool.
That was kind of a
Lenny
neat little
Kravitz
thing.
is a cool cat.
Man, he can write some tunes.
I've never been a huge fan of his music. I just think he's like I like some of his songs, but I think he's just a cool dude. Do you find his name, Mr. Jefferson?
Yeah, it's Sherman Hemsley.
That's right. Is he alive?
No,
Oh, that's too
no.
bad.
He passed in 2012.
Oh, really? Man, what a great comedian. But he was very animated. And
Oh yeah.
I think he really gave some insight as to how a relationship can be behind closed doors. Did you ever see the show?
I have. Yes.
You didn't like it?
I don't remember it much.
Jess, did you ever seen the show?
What was it?
The Jeffersons.
Yeah.
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 Mr. Jefferson.
Oh.
That's enough out of you. That's enough out of you.
Well,
Sorry.
you know how the Jeffersons got their start. They were actually the family that lived next door to Archie Bunker on All in the Family.
Right.
That's right, they
that.
did, because he was the epitome of racism. The Bunkers, or Archie was.
Yeah.
Whereas his wife,
Edith.
But they did that on purpose to show.
My dinner over here.
I think the whole point of that show was to actually advance, the cause of not being racist, to show how racist he could be, and actually at times, not be more understanding of people. His son in the show was actually Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner, yeah.
Who's now a director and a movie movies and film and so on and so forth.
The writer of that show, I want to say Leonard Cohen, but that's the musician. There was another guy. He was huge in writing the old sitcoms back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I think he might have even written Different Strokes, now that I think about it, but maybe not.
Yeah, he was kind of like, maybe, I think you're right. A lot of the same people wrote a lot of that same material. It's kind of like that guy, my God, I'm just totally losing it today. The guy who directed a lot of the movies in the 80s was the same guy as well. He made all those, like 16 Candles and, all those feel-good teen movies.
Oh, yeah. The stuff that ruined our generation.
Yeah. Who was that guy? He did, I think, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He did 16 Candles. He did that Rat Pack group of films.
Are you talking about John Hughes?
Yeah, John Hughes.
There we go.
He's the one that did all those. And he's dead, too.
Breakfast
Everybody's
Club.
dead. He did Breakfast Club, right?
Okay.
Great
He did all
movies.
those
Yeah.
good movies.
That was actually a decent movie.
So The Megalodon with Jason Statham was the biggest film of the weekend, making $44.5 million domestically. It cost $150 million to make it, but it did more than that overseas. I put this in here just as a mechanism of saying, I don't know. Sometimes I like to see like a serious movie, like with some depth to it, and then sometimes you just got some popcorn flicks. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
Popcorn flicks. You don't think about it anything. It's just about seeing an overgrown shark eat up the whole planet. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I probably never will. But that was the big one this weekend.
When I saw the title, I was actually thinking of Family Guy and Meg from Family Guy. So
That's true. You got some impressions?
Giant Meg,
You got some impressions for us?
chasing down people in the water,
Apparently, because I look into everything, the Megalodon that they have in the film is actually 2 to 3 times the size of what an actual Megalodon would have been. It apparently, and there's all other kinds of science that was wrong with it, apparently. I don't know, who gives a shit, right?
Hey, there's a lot of science wrong in the state of movies.
It's a popcorn flick, so I guess who cares? But apparently that animal couldn't have lived at that depth and so on and so forth. It was twice, 2-3 times the size that it actually is. But nonetheless, a formidable opponent. So I guess they were about twice the size of great whites. And that's not something you want coming at you when you're in your canoe in the Atlantic.
Suspend disbelief.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I tell people. When we get into those kind of movies, it's like, just stop. We want to watch the movie. Suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Yeah, you just got to go with it. No, I like popcorn flicks. Sometimes I'll just check out and go there to check out. Sometimes I like a serious movie, but I like to check out and just watch something so stupid that it's, not viably possible.
The state of movie that he did, which was the one where he had he had his heart kept cutting out on him. Statham, yeah. It was like one of the Transporter movies, except in this case they had injected him with drugs or something, and his heart was going to fail. And he kept restarting his heart.
That was like 10 years ago.
That was a fun one. That's my favorite one.
That was a fun one to watch.
He had
to keep I forgot the name of it. He had to keep himself alive.
I think he took car batteries and jump started his heart or something.
Yeah, that's right. You know what happens to me now I'm at the movies, though? I don't get to see the movie. I go to this theater that's got these layback seats.
Oh, nap time.
Yeah, it's nap time. I don't I don't go there to take a nap, but usually I've had I do dinner in a movie, right? So I'll have dinner. I go there, I eat an entire bucket of popcorn, some Skittles, M&Ms, gummy bears, and whatever else. I have a total carb sugar crash, and I just don't see the entire movie.
You got the diabetes.
I'm going to have the diabetes if I don't cut it out. All right, that's what happens.
I'm Wilford Brimley. I got the diabetes.
I think he's dead now.
I think he's still kicking.
I saw him.
Still doing insulin.
I actually saw him on, it was like a movie where he played, it was actually on Seinfeld.
No way.
where he played.
I missed that one.
No, it was a very small part in one of the Seinfeld episodes where he plays the head of the U.S. Postal Service, and Kramer and Newman are up to no good, and he calls Kramer in and puts a spotlight over him. He's like, "Well, I don't want to be here, and neither do you, but you're messing up my Saturday, my golf game, and I got diabetes." It was awesome. He's class.
I got to look that one up. I totally missed that episode.
It's just one episode. That's all he was ever in.
He's still alive.
Is he really?
He
Wilford
is.
Brimley.
Yeah, he's alive.
Let's give him a buzz and get him on the show.
Absolutely.
That guy's a legend. Does he happen to live here?
No,
No.
Utah.
Okay, well, we'll fly there.
I was almost going to say Wyoming. I thought for some reason
yeah.
he was in Wyoming.
No,
But Utah's
Utah.
pretty
I'm gonna
desolate.
fly that guy out here just to interview him. That guy. There's certain people to me that are like just classic. Wilford Brimley is one of them.
He is.
So briefly, that Richard Russell, I won't make fun because he did die. 29 years old, number 2. An airport employee stole an airplane.
A very nice plane.
Alaska Airlines airplane under the guidance of, I think, Horizon.
I think it was a Q400 was on the
It was
tail.
propeller.
No,
76 people could fit on that plane.
that was a damn nice plane. Turboprop?
Yeah. Yep. A lot of questions about this. I mean, first of all, apparently they don't monitor the airplanes themselves. They monitor the airfield, is what I've learned in all this. Meaning they monitor the airfield in its entirety, not each individual airplane. I.e., they don't have keys. You can just start them. So he was an airport, I don't want to say mechanic, but a baggage handler. Did a little bit of everything. And God bless to him and his family, right? Because he was obviously ill and they miss him. But let's just talk about it briefly.
Yeah.
So he jumps in the airplane, takes off. First of all, how does he know how to fly a plane? I guess it's not that complicated anymore. You push forward and pull up, and you're off.
Well, he's
off.
done some flight sims.
Yeah.
Flight sims used to be really,
Did he do
really
flight
detailed.
sims?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, overall, to fly an airplane is not that complicated. I mean, unless you're in conditions.
Right.
Don't misunderstand. It is complicated. If you have to know what to do under certain conditions, but if it's blue skies and nothing, it's not that hard, right? You pull back and you pull up and you're off and running.
Landing is the difficult part. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, which is somewhat computer controlled, anyway. But nonetheless, yeah, that could be the most difficult. So apparently, when he was talking to the air traffic control, was trying to, talk him down. No pun intended. He's kind of goofing with them a little bit.
Oh,
like,
he was goofing
do you
away.
think they'll give me a job for being such a good pilot? And,
Yeah, can Alaska Air hire me maybe?
yeah. He's trying to do barrel rolls, apparently.
He had 2 F-15s on his ass really quick on that one.
Mm-hmm.
They were chasing him down, yeah.
Yep.
Yep, and the air traffic was, like you were saying, trying to talk him down. So I think that's what kept them from shooting him down immediately because they thought he was a threat. So, I mean, they were on him in minutes, which is absolutely amazing.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. That's a 9/11 change, if you will, that they scrambled that quickly.
Right.
Where was that out of? Where did he come out of?
Portland, so that would have been, I think that would have been, I'm guessing Seattle. It was
It was Seattle.
Seattle.
Military base nearby, I
Yeah.
assume. Either way, those guys scramble like crazy. Wow. Doesn't matter. Nowadays, somebody tries to take off in a plane.
That's
They're gonna be on you.
such a weird one, though. I mean, talk about going out with style. I mean, a couple of barrel rolls, yucking it up, and well, maybe I'll land this, maybe I won't. But if I don't, hey,
They tried to talk him down, I think, at one point and said there's an island, not an island, I'm sorry, an airfield just to your right in about a mile.
right, and
You
it was
can-
actually an island
You
that they
can,
were
you can
directing.
land
him to.
right there, and I think his response was something to the effect of, "You think they'll fire me for this?" I mean, he had had enough, apparently, of something. Poor guy. He's young too, 29.
Well, he seemed like, I mean, it was funny when you listen to the air traffic, conversation that he had with him. I mean, he just seemed like a regular dude.
I haven't heard the whole thing. Have you listened to it?
I've listened to parts of it, yeah, and it's drawn some interest from various different factions, but trying to figure out what was going on there, what was actually happening. So,
Well, psychological, obviously. He lost it.
yeah, I mean, generally, you could probably just say that, yeah.
Okay, kind of, well, whatever that means in the depths of psychology, he snapped. if
He
you
didn't
will.
think it through. That's for sure. He's like, "Hey, I got this thing up." And, oh wait,
Got
I
up
gotta
in the
land it.
air and he ended up crashing into an island, and apparently they found the remains in the black box, so there'll be more details coming out about that. But I think that the that's scary, but the adjustments that you're going to see now, another series of airport adjustments, are the inability to just walk into a plane and take off with it.
Right.
A whole nother wave. We were just talking about, the underwear bomber and the
Shoe bomber.
shoe bomber and how much that affected. Well, all of a sudden, I think you're going to see some things implemented pretty quickly.
And it'll probably be around the smaller aircraft.
Yeah, certainly, because they're easier to fly.
Right.
They're easier to take off in. But now they're going to be watching over, rather than just the airfield as a whole. They're going to be watching over the planes and the individuals now. Because you can't. Someone get. It's kind of like the school killings, right? I mean, one person does it, then somebody's going to do it, somebody's going to do it, somebody's going to do it because it's popular to do. So my guess is we're only, within the next 3 months of somebody pulling that off again, but for the wrong purposes, And now that so long as you're on the payroll to be on the airfield, if that's all it takes in order to get into an airplane and take off.
Right. Well, they'll probably put in some kind of draconian measure where it'll be like Wilford Brimley sitting in a room with a bunch of keys for the planes, You got to have that form in triplicate before I can give you the keys.
We can only hope. Let's give him a call. I think next week, what we should do is actually just try to call people randomly, see if we can get any responses. We can get Brimley's number.
Crank calls.
No. We call Brimley up and just try to get him on the show and stuff like that. Speaking of people who
I
don't,
like that idea.
Huh?
I like that idea.
Yeah, no, it's actually been successful for me in the past, by the way. Actually, a hold of it, an astronaut, I don't want to name his name, that was on another radio show. Fascinating story. And I was talking to him a couple months ago. It was obviously him I was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
But he spoke in third person, meaning...
Oh, no, not the dreaded third person.
He spoke in third person, so he did an excellent job on this other podcast, which is extremely popular. Told a fascinating story, and I was actually talking to him about 3 months ago, right? Mm-hmm. Over the phone for a good 20, 30 minutes. And the entire time he acted like it wasn't him talking. Now, he has a very distinctive voice, right? So I knew it was him.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept saying things to the effect of this hypothetical so-and-so. I was like, listen, I even told him, I said, you don't need to do that. I know I'm talking to you. You need to be a jackass about it. No. Either be on the show or don't. He's like, well, call my agent. I'm like, yeah.
We can do that.
Go do something else. No, I'm not going to.
Yeah, but when Bob is doing it, and hey, Bob, and when Bob's taking care of it, it reminds me of the guy from Becker, that one show. There was a guy named Bob, and he always talked about himself in the third person. It was like the most.
I remember that.
Dude.
I came out of the conversation like, you think way too much of yourself.
Well, he was an astronaut. I mean,
No. I'm not
was
saying
he
that.
like a part of the Apollos or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
Smart guy. He did some spacewalks and all this, and I respected that.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't saying the guy wasn't smart or they didn't do something unique or whatever, but you don't need to be a jerk about it, right? To say, this is me, I'm not interested, or this is me, and here's how to get hold of my agent, or what. You don't have to play this game with me.
Right.
You did call him on a very special day, though.
Yeah, so what? I didn't know that. It was like National Astronaut Day, apparently.
Dang. Oh.
He's like, it's National Astronaut Day. I'm like, well, then don't answer the phone.
True story.
I told him that, too.
True story.
He goes, it's National Astronaut Day. And I'm like, great day to call. But you answered, and here we are.
Did you know? Did you know?
No, I did not. He told me that. I said, well, if you can't talk right now, no problem. He goes, no, we can talk. And I go, well, then.
He called you back, though.
Yeah, he did call me back. I don't know what I thought. Previously, we were talking about the, not stupid people, but the guy who took the airplane. Speaking of stupid things to do, a guy in New Jersey, was it Bayou?
You from Jersey?
Bayonne.
I'm from Jersey.
Went into a bank, went up to the teller and handed her a note demanding all the cash. As she's reading the note, he snags it back and says, I'd like to open a bank account. But she'd already read it and pushed her little red button.
That was quick.
Well, I mean, she reads a note that says, give me all the money. The guy snags it back. Talk about bad timing. Meaning, he could have
You got to commit.
either do it or don't, right?
You better be committed when you walk in that door.
Right.
And follow through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not encouraging
That's
bank
the problem
robbing.
with people nowadays. They
So-
don't follow
They
through.
don't follow through.
just
If you're
wanna
going to
work.
rob the bank, rob the bank.
They just want to wear yoga pants and sit at home.
And try on Japanese things to see if their nipples will fit. Oh, my God.
He just had to get Kirk going.
So I guess he hands it over and has like an epiphany, if you will. Like, maybe I should be doing this.
This probably isn't a good idea.
But, I mean, if you had just thought of that 3 seconds earlier and said, I'd like to open an account. So I guess the guy's on the run.
Always on the run.
Yeah,
Lenny
well,
Kravitz.
What? I didn't like that song.
That was a great song. Dang. I want to make it a lead-in song for this podcast.
Right now, it's Ministry.
I like the Ministry, though. That's fairly obscure, but yet nails it.
I think people know enough about that song, or at least have heard those expressions, which I'm not sure exactly what they mean. But
How many Ministry albums do you have?
all of them.
All of them. Very
I was kind of a metalhead, so I had all that stuff back then.
good. All right.
Well, I don't know all of them. They put out probably 20 more after that. I had the stuff from the 90s.
Right. Yeah, that's where I was keyed in.
Same thing with like not White Pony. Who did the album White Pony?
Deftones?
Deftones.
Yes. Deftones.
The Deftones had a great album called White Pony, and they've since they have a whole bunch of albums after that.
I remember the Deftones. Yeah, they were actually quite good. I don't own any Deftones, so that's going to make me go on a hunt.
Oh, certainly listen to the White Pony. That's the best one. And they did a whole bunch after that. They're also very good, but they didn't have quite the kick of that particular one. They're not a one-hit wonder or anything like that.
No. They were big. They were big enough. I think I may have actually seen them a couple of times.
Yeah, I saw they opened. I think they opened for, I can't remember who. Anyway, my number one concert thing is when I got spit on by Tommy Lee in the 80s.
Did you have to get shots for Hep C?
This is before he was with Pam Anderson.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'd still get a shot anyway.
He used to go up in that I still did it throughout his entire career. He went up into the platform where he played the drums, right? Actually, the concert that I went to was in New England. This was in the late 80s, I think, when they were the Dr. Feelgood tour.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was a good album.
So they were playing a little bit of everything, and so he got up onto his platform, started spinning around. Coming across the audience.
Oh, right out over the
right over the audience.
Yeah, mega $1 million stage production.
Yeah, I mean that is as hot of a band could have gotten at the time, and in the rock world at least, and so it came up pretty low at one point, and he spit on me, not me in particular, a bunch of people, but I was like, wow, I just got spit on by Tommy Lee. That's cool.
Sweet dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be spit on by him now. I saw them again a few years ago. They still put it out just like they did before.
Well, didn't they just retire? Then
they went on a retirement tour, and they did a show here in Detroit, 2 shows here in Detroit.
Okay.
I went to the first one, and yeah, they're still as good as they used to be. I mean, Vince Neil's lost a little bit of his luster in his voice, but otherwise they were very entertaining.
Oh yeah, you can't do Motley Crue bad. I don't think.
Mick Mars looked like he's like the Crypt Keeper as usual.
him and what's his name from the Rolling Stones hang out a lot, right? Keith Richards.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they look the
They
same.
look identical.
They look like brothers. He always had that hat on. Mick Mars did.
The last mega band show I saw was AC/DC 2016 when Bryan Adams he lost his hearing.
Yeah.
So they threw Axl Rose in. Oh. I went to go see it, and I said, oh, man, I don't know. You know what? That was one of the best concerts.
Did he do good?
He rolled. He just kicked the crap out of that whole show. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Guns N' Roses back in the day when they were, Appetite and all that stuff. And
oh yeah,
some of their prior stuff, which they did as well. They did Lies EP, and anyway, so I go to see. It was Metallica and Guns N' Roses out in Phoenix.
Whoop.
Yeah, and out in the desert. A lot of things happened before that, but let's say, all right, so we get to the concert. I'm watching it. Metallica's first. They're very predictable, meaning put on a good show, did their thing, did their time, say thank you, leave. Guns N' Roses didn't come out for like 6 hours.
They were notorious
So
for doing that.
So I listened to like 3 songs and left. I was disappointed because I'd wanted to see them for years, and I was like, God, I was sick of waiting.
Yeah, that was like their ego tour. See how long they can make people wait.
Well, this was on the Use Your Illusion tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like him as much anymore because he put on spandex and started running everywhere. Meaning, have you ever seen Axl Rose do that? Like, he puts on like these little spandex and like runs across the stage. You can't hear him sing because he's just running everywhere.
Just running, yeah. Wow.
Runs from one side to the other to the other to the other. So I finally left.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
No, too much energy. He had a messed up life though.
Well, that's why it took him 6 hours to get there. He had to like get jump started. Then he had to, get in the limo, and they had to drag him over. It was probably like a Pink Floyd, the Wall scene.
Yeah.
Give him a shot, stick him up
Wake
on
him
stage,
up, wake him up.
dose him.
Like in Pulp Fiction where they stab.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
All right, let's rock.
Who was that? Oh, that was Uma Thurman. They were waking up Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
That was a good movie. Pulp Fiction.
Narcan.
I love Tarantino stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Inglourious Basterds is a great movie.
I have not seen that one.
You gotta watch it, Kirk. I avoided it for years because it was lame. Because my son told me it was long, really long, and I'm like, watch it. One of my favorites. It's so well done. Brad Pitt, and I'm not a big fan of his, did a great job playing the main character. Everybody did good now. Okay, science stuff. 2 new, seemingly good books about the study of the brain, which
Boop,
I am
boop, boop.
absolutely
We're putting on our propeller heads
Put
now.
on your propeller heads because I'm absolutely obsessed with the brain.
The brain.
One is called Unthinkable by Helen Thompson, and the other is The Disordered Mind by neuroscientist Eric Kandel. Both books describe, and I'm reading off of my cheat sheet here. Both books describe people that with the minds that don't work the same way as everyone else's. I'm not sure that that's actually a thing, though. Meaning that assumes everybody thinks similar, but I don't think they do. There are people who are convinced that they're dead. Some who have mental illness manifesting itself as incredible art, and people who don't forget anything to people who experience dementia and can't remember anything. Apparently these are 2 extremely good books. And given that I'm quite obsessed with the brain and how it works, I intend on, I haven't read them.
Okay. I was going to say, you got to give me some time to read this stuff.
No, I haven't read them yet. I thought it was interesting concepts. I'm not sure that there's many answers in them, other than maybe from the neuroscientist about how things might work. Disturbingly, I don't know if that's the accurate word. We don't know how much about how the brain works at all still, right? So I'm not sure to what degree they've studied them to determine, how people make decisions and so on and so forth. But these 2 books they're either out or coming out, and I'm looking forward to reading them.
Yeah, they look actually pretty interesting. The concept that you are dead. So it's almost like you've dropped yourself into a Matrix-like reality.
So I had an incident when I was 18 years old. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but it was a pretty horrific incident and accident, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it an incident. And I don't think I'm dead. So I'll just put that out there right now. But in being somebody who's thoughtful about things in general, I've always thought, what if I actually didn't live through that, and I just think I did? Like I'm actually not to scare the audience or whatever. But my the person that was with me passed away, so it was a pretty horrific accident. We were run over. And she passed away. She was about 7. She was 17 at the time. I was 18.
Sorry to hear that. That sucks.
We'll move on. So, I'm pretty 100% confident I'm still here, right? But there have been times that I'm like, hey, I wonder if I actually didn't make it through that. And this is just
Purgatory.
I don't know if I'd call it purgatory.
I'd call it purgatory.
More like, well, not being with you,
No,
being with you guys, it could be purgatory. You kind of wonder is the sometimes I just ask this question. It's just it's a complete, it's not even a conspiracy theory. It's a complete
Alternate reality.
Alternate reality.
Like a DC comic.
Meaning, is the afterlife potentially what you would have done had you not passed away? And that you're living in that and not realizing that you're actually not here.
I think there's a lot of people that have had near-death experiences that have that same concept, that have that same, it's like a core feeling, and you can't shake it sometimes.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm buying into it.
No, I'm not either.
I've actually,
but I've read about
I haven't read about it. I've just thought, what if that was true? I'm actually not here. I'm just living out what my life would have been had that incident not occurred, and I don't know it
Right. Right.
until I actually die.
It's the last
Well,
milliseconds that your
quote-unquote.
brain is still functioning before you died.
Right. So let's
Right.
say I died when I was 18 years old,
Right.
and this is what my life would have looked like had I carried it out. I just believe myself to be in this reality that actually isn't reality, and then I'll supposedly die again, and then I realize, well, that's what your life would have been, but actually, none of that ever happened.
Right. Right. No, I'm with you.
You died when you were 18 years old.
Right. That's kind of weird, but it's a neat concept.
What do you know? Why is that so
Sounds
funny?
like a Tom Cruise movie to me.
Could make a movie out of that.
You could. Remember the one Tom Cruise?
By the way,
where he
I want
kept
to.
dying?
I'm going to claim rights to it right now. In case somebody tries to make that movie. Okay, so no, I think it's. I don't believe that that's what's occurring.
No.
I don't believe.
It's an interesting
I believe she
thought.
did pass away, and I didn't, and that's it. But I mean, but you never know what's going on in the brain. It's very complex. Not very complex. It's infinitely complex. That that could have happened.
There's this.
Who knows?
There's this show with Ted Danson, which is called the Good Place.
Didn't you just talk about him
I
in
think
another
I
show?
may have. Yeah, I
Are you a
love
Ted
that
Danson
show.
fan?
No, actually, I like this show.
What was the one he was in before that you mentioned?
What's her name? Kristen. She's a blonde-haired girl. She's actually from Royal Oak. She stars in the movie, and she actually lived like by us years ago, and she's in the movie. So it's really funny because we watch a show, and it's about people going to heaven, supposedly, and no spoilers, but damn, it's kind of the same concept in a way.
Wasn't the butterfly effect about that a little bit?
I totally did not see
Ashton
that movie.
Kutcher.
Not really.
Oh,
Kind
no.
of, but not really.
I could be wrong. It's been years since I've seen that movie.
All right, I won't plug that show anymore. But dang, I have never.
Oh, but you
laughed
plugged
so
a different
hard in
show
my
which he was on, where he played the blind guy.
life.
Okay, so he did Cheers. Then he's done a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh
on,
yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff with this.
on HBO with my dementia's
It's
kicking in.
Monday.
It's Monday.
It's
It is
Monday.
Monday.
Monday dementia. Well, he was on. He guest starred quite a bit on Larry David's show on HBO. The writer of Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
But then he did a show after that where he played a blind guy. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that
Then he was
one.
on another show where he played a doctor.
Becker?
It was Becker.
Becker was
And then-
funny.
Then he did something after that where he played a doctor or something.
I swear, some days I'm Becker walking around.
Yeah.
I'm just a crabby bastard.
No,
some
that's what
days.
he was. Crabby.
Oh
Becker.
God, yeah. Becker was funny, but yeah, this one, The Good Place. I won't plug it anymore, but oh my God,
Was that a good show?
it is really a good show. I think they actually have it on. What is that, ABC?
I love Kristen Bell. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
I
Kristen
will-
Bell?
Yes,
Okay.
Kristen Bell.
I will watch that.
Is she here local?
She used to be.
So the next couple
I don't
weeks, what
think
we're going
she
to try
is
to
now.
do is we're going to find numbers of people and try to call them up during the show. Wilford Brimley's at the top. So do some research.
Kristen Bell, next one.
All right, Kristen Bell. Oh, you just, that's
No, not for any reason other than
right.
I
just-
used to have Huel Perkins' phone number, but I don't think I do.
Who the hell's that?
The news anchor guy.
Channel 4, right?
All right, let's
Channel
give
4,
let's
Channel
give all
4,
these
yeah,
people a
something like
call
that.
and we'll see what we
Huel.
got.
Huel Perkins.
No, the proof of
Gave you his
concept.
number, huh?
The proof of,
Yeah, he
the
did.
proof that I'm trying to actually make out to some of my audience members is that if you take a chance and a risk, it may pay off. All right, so we'll try to call these people. So
Well, this will be interesting.
we will do it. And all we got to do is hold the iPhone up to the mic.
Well, if our engineer was in here, she could actually patch us in and then, swap over to videos. And
Yeah.
Of course, that's probably getting to the premium rates, so we'll have to talk to Dave about that.
The premium.
We're going to have the big boy studio.
That's right. move out of this dump.
Moving on up.
Moving on up to the east side.
To a deluxe
Apartment in the sky.
Woohoo!
My God.
Moving on up. Come on now.
Did that really just come out?
It did happen. Come on. Can anybody have any humor anymore? Nobody's humorous anymore. You can't be funny anymore.
No, the death
You're not
of
allowed
comedy
to,
is
You're not
upon
allowed
us.
to be funny anymore. NASA's actually doing something. Actually, after the space program, the shuttle program. I'm sorry. They launched what is called the Parker Solar Probe, named after Eugene Parker, a solar physicist who's now 91 years. Not
my
Eugene,
bud.
go for it, man. 91 years old.
I'm gonna shoot something into the sun.
Yeah, he's shooting. He is shooting something at the sun. You know what's unfortunate as you read this here. He originally came up with the theory of solar wind in 1958. 1958.
Dang.
Which, for all intents and purposes, proved to be true.
They finally declassified it.
So they shot a probe up that's going to start feeding data back in December of this coming year. The objective is to study the sun's electromagnetic environment and hot-moving plasma. So
Moving plasma.
like my TV in 2005.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Hot moving plasma.
Move it, plasma. You're hot moving.
You guys are weird.
It's like my
You guys are really weird.
It's like my TV. I don't want a 4K TV. I want a plasma TV.
Okay,
Again,
Doug.
on the King
Thank
Queens,
you.
it's alive. He said my TV's alive.
Yeah,
It's got
well,
plasma to carry.
Carrie
It's
wanted
alive.
her diamond bracelet.
No,
not
he got
the
a plasma. He got a plasma
TV.
TV. So the objective is to study the sun's electromagnetic environment and hot-moving plasma, how solar winds accelerate into space, and why the corona is so much hotter than the surface, which I want to talk about. Material in the corona is about a trillionth that density of the surface, and temperatures can range a few thousand to a few million degrees. So essentially what happens is that, all right, so here's the sun, all right?
Helium, hydrogen, whole bunch
If you
of
see a
stuff.
solar eclipse, what you're actually seeing is this, I want to say Corolla.
Corona.
Well, I mean,
Corona?
I thought I would have had it wrong because it's the name of the beer. That's probably why they call it Solar Probe.
Put a lime in it.
Parker?
It is Corona. Parker.
It says Parker Solar Probe.
I know, but you're thinking about the Gold Rush kid.
No, I'm looking at the
Like
news.
Parker actually shot something out into space to
No,
find gold.
it's called Parker Solar Probe.
Look at that baby go.
I'm looking at
I understand. So there's the surface of the sun, and then there's the outer portion.
Sure.
The gaseous portion.
All right. So apparently, the corona is one of the. You would think that something that is not closer to the surface would be hotter. That is closer to the surface would be hotter, i.e., the sun itself and moving into its core. But it's actually hotter outside. That's what they call the corona.
yes, you're correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Right. And it's millions of times hotter than what's the actual sun's surface, which is astounding to me.
I'm going to pull out my astrophysicist hat.
Oh, I need you to put your tin hat on.
Here. No, not the tin hat. This is the propeller one.
All right.
So the reason for that is because of the mass of the sun, because of the components that are made up in it. They're solid. It's solid matter. But when you get into the corona, it's gaseous. So gaseous by nature is going to be hotter, be able to burn at higher temperatures because of the fact it's gaseous, right?
Millions of times hotter.
Yes. Yeah, because of physical properties of a and I'm there's probably some other astrophysicist amateur that's going to like call me out on it, but you know,
Fair
whatever.
enough. We're just
But that's the basic concept is you have the mass, which is the sun, and then you have the corona, which is all the gases that are escaping, and those are igniting, and those are hotter. It just makes sense.
Well, so they obviously can't get close with a probe, right? It would just burn up. I wonder how far away they're going to be.
It'll be really interesting because I don't think they've ever done it, right? They've never shot anything at the sun to really say, what can we see?
What's going on up there, right?
Yeah.
So I guess they're shooting it towards Venus to grab onto the gravity and then shoot it back towards the sun.
Damn NASA guys, man, they're so smart.
Yeah, why Venus?
Slingshot that baby right off of there.
Grab onto Venus's gravity, and it takes about 6 weeks to get to Venus.
Really?
Grab onto the gravity and then be shot off towards the sun. Yeah, not that long, actually.
I wonder if they're going to do a bypass on Mars. They're probably not even worried about that. They're probably just worried about velocity at that point.
Yeah, so I think that, well, I mean, this is specific for, I mean, can you imagine how Eugene feels? I want to interview Eugene, too. Since 1958, so we're talking, 60 years. This guy came up with the solar winds theory back in the 50s. And just yesterday, I think it was, that they launched the probe. He's got to be ecstatic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's 91 years old. I hope he lives until he's like 150 so he can actually...
So he can actually see it.
Well,
yeah.
sure, because if you put that kind of effort into something... well, go ahead.
What's Eugene's last name?
Parker. That's why it's called the
Oh,
Parker
okay. Got
Solar
it.
Probe. The objective is to study I think a few things. The winds that come off of it and the solar flares and so on and so forth.
Well, that's really the majority of our climate change on this planet is really revolving, no pun intended, around the sun. Because when the sun has high corona activity and all of those types of things, that is what really impacts our global temperatures.
What, that being a theory, what inspires the coronas to get suddenly so active? And, do you know? I mean, now I'm not saying we're not astrophysicists.
No, not by any means. But if I'm remembering, it's activity on the actual physical surface of of the sun. So when the sun is more active, it depends on the internal. So like when you look at Earth is, basically a shell, a hard crust around a magma interior, right? Well, the sun is very much the same thing. And basically, but it's not, it doesn't have a crust, right? It's like just a ball of magma that's working. Well, when you get into the depths of the sun, there's different things that happen. So like you end up with volcanoes like on Earth that shoot up and blow a bunch of stuff out, right? So same thing with the sun. The sun's doing the same thing on a different scale.
That's crazy.
It is. It's just
the
amazing.
universe in its entirety is just mind-boggling.
Let's call Carl Sagan.
Yeah. He put when did he send that material out? Back in the 60s?
Yeah, it was the 60s and the 70s.
He sent some material out for extraterrestrial life to listen to.
Oh, that was the big probe, right? With the
It's still out there.
male and female. It's still hurtling out in space. Yeah.
Far away.
Yeah. Well, did Sagan have to do with that, or was that? No, never mind. I was thinking of another dude. It was that crazy guy that did all the LSD. He was
Stephen Hawking?
No, Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary. I think he had his remains shot into the space.
Engineer, help me.
Uh-oh.
I have a name,
Engineer.
Engineer lady. I'm sorry.
Door lady,
I'm sorry.
engineer
I'm sorry.
lady.
I'm sorry, Jessica.
Thank you.
With a G.
Is it with the G?
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't
man,
that-
I
That's
totally
Jessica with
didn't
a G.
know that.
It's not a cool name.
There's no G. Did you say G?
Yeah.
Are you drunk?
No.
There's
I
no
thought your name
G.
was-
It's Monday.
I thought-
It's Monday.
I thought-
Jessica?
He's tired.
Yeah, Jessica. That's how you pronounce
No, my mom's not ridiculous like that.
it. Jessica.
That would have been horrible. Thank you, Mom,
Gattaca.
for not doing that.
Jessica. Jessica.
Jessica.
That's just mean.
So I apologize, engineer lady.
Instead of muting you.
Jessica. as I get slapped.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just punch him.
I appreciate that. Thanks for
No problem.
Thanks for the support.
No
Second.
problem.
Thanks for the support, second engineer lady,
That's our producer.
producer lady.
Producer. Yeah.
Producer producing.
Yeah, produce something.
She gets a cut.
Yeah, apparently. I wrote a bad contract on that one.
100%.
Whoa.
I don't know why I have to
Dang.
come here just to support her.
How do you even own businesses with that kind of negotiating skill? Holy crap.
That's why he can only afford half a shirt.
from the Japanese store. All right, moving on. Business topics. Before we take a break, Lee and Wrangler are splitting off into separate companies under the current owners of some conglomerate that owns them all. Yoga Pants are taking over. Apparently, it's a women problem.
What?
Well, because I'm not wearing yoga pants, are you?
Wait, you're not?
They have men's yoga pants?
Yeah. No, I'm making that up.
No.
They probably do, though.
God, no.
You don't want to see me in that. I tried on a Speedo last night. It didn't look too good.
Guys in yoga pants? No thanks.
No. So Liam Wrangler, I think that they got the women's line. At least that's their excuse. Jeans, just in general, are not doing well. Yoga pants have been their number one decline. So they're not getting rid of the brands.
Scaling
They're
them back.
they're separating them off into another company, probably because they're dragging down
The sales.
They're dragging down the sales, the revenue, and the profits of the conglomerate that owns them. So they're breaking off into their own brands, and they're going to sell Lee and Wrangler separately. But apparently, jeans are just on the decline in general. And they said that the majority of the reason was because of yoga pants, which I'm not wearing. But
Who wants to wear real pants? Who wants to
what do
go
you,
to
what do you
Who
mean?
wants to go to work anymore? I want to work from home. I don't want to put on real pants.
Well, let's go around the horn. Anybody wearing jeans?
I am
You're
Well,
wearing jeans.
black jeans, but yeah.
Okay, but they're
jeans.
considered jeans.
Yeah.
You've got shorts on.
Yeah,
I've got
it's-
Carhartts on.
Jess has yoga pants on.
Just has yoga pants on.
They're really comfortable.
See?
1 out of 5.
I don't
There
blame
you
her.
go.
One
All
out
right.
of
Does
4.
anybody own Lee or Wrangler jeans? I don't.
No.
No.
I used to.
No, it's not a humiliation question. It's
No.
just a question of does anybody own them?
Well, it used to be a question of did you wear Levi's, Wranglers, or Lee's?
Well, I mean that's
True.
That's true. When we were in 1976 and they had 3 pairs of sneakers, Nike had 3 pairs of sneakers: blue,
Right.
white, and red.
That's right.
That was it.
Well,
We didn't have many choices. Then they came up with the red tab Levi's, by the way,
right.
and my mother wouldn't buy them.
Really?
No, they were like twice the cost.
So what'd you do?
I Sharpied them.
Well, I think the quality of the material that they used to, because jeans used to be real heavy, and you mentioned Carhartts, right? Carhartts got a heavy duty material.
Yeah.
There's something to wearing a pair of jeans that has, some stiffness and you're breaking it in. There's a challenge there.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've gotten out of jeans too. I used to wear jeans all the time, including green ones and red ones. I might add.
I had stonewashed, gray, acid washed. I've had just about every type of jean you could imagine.
Did you see that King of Queens episode? Everything that relates to King of Queens for me. King of Queens episode where Doug comes out in his stonewashed jeans and he's like, "Look, I lost 20 pounds," and she's like, and he's got these stonewashed jeans just like sucked up to him. He's like, "I look good." He's got his T-shirt tucked into it. No,
High tops. Yeah.
I've tried jeans a few times in the last couple of years, just to no avail.
Well, they're making them all skinny and they're this stretchy fabric.
Well,
and
I
It's
don't.
like slides down my backside.
So I keep ordering stuff on the internet that I try to ask when I made the switch to big and tall, meaning
Husky.
to husky, because I don't fit into anything anymore. Meaning, some of the stuff you order on Amazon, first of all, comes from Japan, where apparently they're
Japan or China?
China, Japan, Asia. Let's just call it Asia.
All right.
Or apparently they're about a quarter the size of the irregular American because I ordered like 4X and it just covers my nipples and that's it.
I'm afraid to ask what it was that just covered your nips.
Like a vest or something.
Did it have the biker hat with it and some chaps or what?
For clarification. Oh, we're a little bit off on the rails on that one.
Whoops.
I mean, you're not wrong, though. They're all really tiny compared to us.
They apparently are because let me tell you something. Nothing I put on ever, like I can't even get my arm in it. And then the other...
Kirk.
No.
I'm like
He's got his own visions
getting
going.
a mental picture here.
He's got his own visions going on.
Things
Brain
are
bleach,
his head.
please. It won't fit.
It doesn't fit over my nipples. All right. And then I order things from Amazon that are quote unquote regular, like American sized. So I don't have to pull up the chart. Come on, Kirk, come back with us. I don't know what kind of visions he's got in his head. Let's let him go.
I gotta go outside. Smack my head against the wall.
This padded. Go for it. What was the other one? So I order stuff off of Amazon. That doesn't fit either. And I like jean sizes or jacket sizes. And my if I go into like, I found this out a couple years ago when I went to like an Express and realized that I was over 40. But the waist sizes go up to like 32, and I'm like, well, who the hell could fit in that?
I got one leg in.
Just pull one leg on. I'm like,
How's it look?
I don't think I belong here anymore. Last one.
Last
For a
one.
break, Amazon quietly is expanding to Boston, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh. And they still, of course, have not announced their HQ2 finalists. Well, I'm sorry, headquarters. They're going to do it in December. At the top of the list, I believe, is Boston, D.C., and Atlanta. But apparently they're building a lot of the Alexa stuff out of Pittsburgh and Boston, so on and so forth. So they're quietly expanding anyway.
I don't like Amazon. They haven't saved me a dime yet.
Okay, caught right there. I don't like Amazon. I that's very definitive. I love Amazon.
I
I love it because I just order stuff and it's just
and
there.
it just shows up.
And if I don't like it, I just send it back.
Well, there's
I hate shopping. That's what I hate.
I don't know. I like getting out, walking around a little bit, hanging out with the old people to getting their laps in.
Do you have Prime?
No. I've been working on that one, but it's no.
All right.
I
So
haven't
let me
made the
ask you. So if you need whatever,
chaps.
what do you?
You can find everything on Amazon.
The problem,
You
get
can
get
pretty
anything.
much.
How come
That's
you
what
don't-
scares me.
Why don't you like it though?
Well, because I don't know. It seems like every time I find something, I go and order it, I get it. It's never quite what I was looking for.
You're a touchy-feely kind of guy. You have to touch your products.
Yeah, this could go badly, but I don't know if that's it, or
Oh,
if,
no,
I'm,
they're-
if I'm just not reading the descriptions correctly.
Yeah, made out of plastic, not metal.
Right.
Yeah.
What's
Because everything. I mean, you take a good picture of anything. I almost ordered a Lamborghini.
on Amazon?
Yeah, it turned out to be a Matchbox car.
Well, there you go. See, that's a safe purchase.
I did the same thing on eBay. It was a kit. I was like, what am I gonna do with this? Lamborghini for
Lamborghini for 600,000. Hey, I'm buying it.
for $64. Wonderful pricing. Anyway, now that we know all about my nipples, we'll take a quick break.
I think we need it.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.